Yo, yo,
Raheem,
what up, what up?
not much. How you been, bro?
Man, I'm good, maintaining.
I feel you on that. Listen, thanks so much for joining us today. It's been a minute since we you dropped a couple projects on me since the last time we talked.
Yeah, it's been a few years, been a few projects. Good to see you. You in Philly?
Delaware, close,
Yeah,
close though.
cool, cool.
hmm
All right, cool.
Yeah. So I gotta say congratulations before we even really get started on the full interview. Congratulations on just how you've been keeping consistency versus in the last decade. With releasing projects, the touring to the Love Life Foundation, and just building entrepreneurship. Congratulations on like that consistency because it can get a little difficult as independent artists.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so let's talk about how that experience has been because you've done a lot of performances. So, like let's I guess we can start with talking about the performance aspect. You've done Essence, you've headlined tours. I think the last tour that I saw you headline was for the Love, Sex, Passion tour, and that whole experience was crazy. So, what have you kind of learned from the whole touring experience?
Man, I mean, the touring experience is just about elevation. It's crazy because I was just about to quote unquote take it to the next level in
Right.
terms of that. I had just hired some new people to help me in terms of just kind of just taking it's some things I wanted to see happen for myself, from a live performance standpoint.
Yeah.
And so now it's like kind of figuring that out, from the crib. So now I'm on
Uh
that
huh.
journey once again, during quarantine, you know what I mean, as I embark to find cool ways and technology to entertain, my audience during quarantine or for what we could call the new norm or what have you,
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just I think one of the things for me as an independent artist is just making sure that you that there's a process where you have to constantly like invest in yourself,
Yes.
whether that's employing new people around you to help your success and your vision to be so dope,
hmm
or you know and then just like creatively and aesthetically, like I mean there's people I've seen just doing the same show that we probably both know that they've been doing
Yes.
the show for like 20 years,
And they run that shit into the ground and be like, come on, man, can you change the choreo just a little bit?
yeah,
Something.
yeah, at least be like considerate, you know what I mean, to the
Background singers, damn it.
yeah. Yeah, so I try to just keep that interesting as well, the set list and trying different songs and different arrangements on the songs and that type of thing. So definitely a lot that I've learned, but I think the main thing is that you have to be, with the chops, you got to be consistent. And I think that that's something that I strive to do, not just on stage and with the live performances, but also
Right.
with the recording process and making these albums as well.
hmm And let's even talk about the preparation that actually goes into a tour because when it comes to that preparation for you, you're always on it. Like you make sure that the Love Life Foundation is incorporated into everything you do, whether it's like the merch setup, you making sure that that is always there. So just kind of going into the tour process, like how early on do you just kind of say, all right, these are the dates that we're potentially want to go out and do these shows, and then like this is exactly what I want to align with the concept of the album or what we could do with this artist and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I never been picky when it comes to like, what shows I'm gonna do, what shows I'm not gonna do. In my work, you try to do them all, do as many as you can. Live performance is our bread and butter for not just any artists, but artists, period. So it's a lot of artists that are taking a huge hit right now, uh,
Yeah.
financially, just like anybody else. You know what I'm saying, with the economy being what it is, and and the bounce back is going to be interesting as well
Oh yeah.
because of the limitations that it'll probably be on social distancing
Um.
and that whole thing, and then who
Yeah, I
can
want to talk about those limitations too that they're talking about.
yeah, and then just who can afford to come to a show. You know what I mean? So again, with those challenges, even now more than ever, it's going to be important to figure out new ways and affordable ways to connect with your audience. You know what I mean? Some people feel like it'll be the last thing people spend their money on, you know, in terms of like entertainment or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right. When it'll really be the first thing they actually spend their money on.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even through quarantine, I think it's safe to say that everybody needs their form of escapism.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
yeah, and music and film and television is a huge part of that probably right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a big escape because everybody turns to music to get a feeling, to get their fix. So it's going to be an amazing thing to see, especially how now everything is now digital. How are your thoughts on that? I know you've been doing like a lot. You've been doing stage it. I'm very glad you've been still performing and
Yeah.
keeping it flowing and going. But how are you feeling as far as you now having to be more acclimated with the digital marketing and just get on socials, because you were already on it, and I love
Yeah.
that you stay consistent with that. But you've been like, let me step it up even more. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me even do my IG lives and
Yeah.
conceptualize it with different days.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's again, it's about what the agenda and what the goal is. And I think, for some people, I'm sure there's some people out there that have been wanting to write a book, and right now that's
Yep.
what they, and I have been wanting to kind of tap into more of my social media world and figure out how to make that work for my brand without kind of like selling myself short,
Mm-hmm.
or kind of like the buffoonery, or it feeling like you watching a Love and Hip Hop
Yeah.
episode or something. You know what I mean? That's not,
Right.
each his own, whatever works for them. But for me, it's always about the integrity of the brand. You know what I mean? As it grows and elevates. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and it still be an entertaining thing at the same time. So, I think it's a thin line between all of those things.
True.
But also during the quarantine is like knowing, you got to keep yourself busy too and mentally, prepared. You know what I mean? Or you just like it's kind of like, or you end up just looking like you kind of just gave up. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be
Yeah.
an artist that doesn't come out of this um successfully, or I think that there are going to be some artists that disappear, that you're not going to hear from anymore.
Exactly. And
As
I
a
want to talk about exactly what you said,
Yeah.
because there are some artists that are shying away from putting out music, but you've got this upcoming project that's coming out soon later this year. So
Hmm.
why do you feel that people are feeling discouraged about releasing music versus feeling encouraged to just put out music and just be like, look, let's focus into the now versus focus into the later, because when we get back outside, it's going to be very monetary how stuff gets moved around in the
Yeah,
business.
I think it's for a number of things. Maybe it's the lack of passion or vision.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it could, this is like this life, this culture
Yeah.
that we embrace as artists, and some people fall out of love with it. You know what I mean? Some people do it. Maybe it's a lack of monetization that comes with it.
Yes.
There's some people out there that, I mean, from what I've been hearing well, I won't say in the streets, but
You
um,
can say in the streets,
yeah,
in the
you,
quarantine
yeah,
streets.
you still think, yeah, word of the quarantine streets is that. Uh,
Right. Uh-huh.
there was there are artists like trying to charge y'all for interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah. I had a friend tell me that I won't name the producer because I
Yeah.
know who the producer is. And
Hmm.
they said they wanted to charge them like 1,500 to do an interview. I was like, no, 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 no way in hell.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I heard that, I was like, that's different.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So maybe that's why, it's you hear things, and but I mean, hey, do what works for you. If somebody's willing to pay you 1,500 to do
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Rock out, my G. But me, I feel like it's important to use every platform to expose people to not just your music, but sometimes, you're giving out game,
Yeah.
valuable information, you know what I mean? And you get that back tenfold, you know what I mean? And if you can't pass that torch down or put that game out there, then what, what's the point? You can't harbor all that information. I learned that a long
Yeah.
time ago. It's one of the things that I loved about the spirit and the energy of DJ Jazzy Jeff in particular,
Mm-hmm.
was that, he didn't try to keep all the game for himself. He would definitely try to put you on the game. And,
Right.
in the process of everything else that was going on, working with that, Touch of Jazz family at the time.
Exactly. And you talked about radio. I know that you're kind of teasing coming back to radio,
Huh?
stuff like that. Your radio show when it was out in the last decade was like such a hit.
Yeah.
Just getting that experience and being able to be radio Raheem Devaughn and stuff like that.
Hmm.
How was that whole experience? Being able to expand yourself and not just put yourself in a box, because a lot of times there are people that want to be like, you need to just do one thing. You need to do one thing. I mean, of course, it's always good to have that one major thing that you stick to,
Hmm.
but being able to expand your brand and, go into entrepreneurship, how important was that?
Man, it was everything. I was on the cutting edge of that. I was one of the first to do like, I guess at the time was now known as like that the podcast,
Yep, the podcast. Yep.
like blown up. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud to announce that there's something coming in the near future. I can't speak too much on it just yet, but it will probably be during the quarantine that
Yeah.
we launch it. And this time it'll be done right. You know what I mean? That was the only thing I feel like, that when you're experimenting and you're doing something for the first time,
Yeah.
you can't you gotta you need that opportunity to work out the kinks. And then sometimes there'll be some forks in the road, some bumps in the road, and so I had to take a step back, to take 5-10 steps forward. So we definitely gonna, myself and my partner, we finalizing our paperwork and stuff of that nature, and we got some exciting things coming in the near future, for the culture of R&B and soul music as a whole.
Yeah.
A
That's
global,
amazing.
it'll be a global thing as well. So this, again, the quarantine is about how you use it and what you make it, and using this time to become, be productive and
Yeah.
reinvent yourself as well.
Exactly. So before we go into the Love Reunion project, how often are you actually recording during this time? Because I know it might be a little bit more often, because typically you've got the shows, and then you've got the different activations that you're doing out in the community in the DMV area. How like frequent are you recording now?
Man, I haven't been. To be honest with you, I haven't been recording as much as I was before the quarantine, because
Mm-hmm.
I was one of those guys that I don't like having studios at the crib. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like
Right.
I like the luxury of being like, when I'm home, I'm home. When I'm at work, I'm at work. You know what I mean? So I got to kind of like. So this is definitely, even doing, even committing to a schedule where I do online activities. Like,
Exactly.
I try to treat it as a job and be as professional as I can, and go on at a certain time, and promote it when I can and how I can, and watch it grow organically and that type of thing. And yeah, so it's a different it's different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, I do have enough material recorded though. I've been in there so much over the last 3, 4, 5 years that I have enough material recorded that if I decided to like not come out the house anymore,
Mm-hmm.
were confined to our homes, like I could put out a project like every 9 months for
Yeah.
the next, at least for a decade solid, maybe even 2 decades. You know what I'm saying? Music like I'm sitting on. So um as well as like projects that I've executive produced, and I got a full album done on Brendan McKinney,
Yeah.
dope artist out of Houston, Texas. I'm working with um, artist Granique, whose name may be familiar to the early scene of the music, the soul music lovers for the
Yeah.
neo
Real
soul,
talk.
as it was coined, many moons ago. I got a record, entire album done on a brother named B-Boy Soul, and Wes Felton as well. Like, I got a project. Wes drops a project pretty much, you know, every month to maybe two.
Right.
But I have a project in particular that we that I exactly produced that we're going to be putting out at some point as well. So, I always kind of record. Maybe it was for this time. I don't know, but it's been cool to not feel like you have that pressure on you that you got to
Yeah, because
really.
you've already got the work done.
Yeah, so a lot of the process now is just like it's like the mixing and mastering, and I don't have to necessarily be there over his back. It's like we can set up the sessions and he can send me things and I can say, hey, turn up the snare. We can jump on the live.
Yep.
There's technology now where you can kind of be there without having to be there. I am looking into the capabilities of being able to record here, at home and have him engineer the sessions where he is. So that's something that we actually have conversations about that. We started conversations about that today, in fact.
That actually would be pretty dope.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that me and him can click like that. And if I could sort that out, man, that'll make it a lot easier.
Super easier. Because that way you can get the mixing done, you can get the
Yeah.
everything kind of finalized. So kind of going into like the engineering aspect and just kind of like finalizing music. Has that like at what point was it that you knew that you mastered it?
Man, for me, I'm not so much an engineer as
Mm-hmm.
like to have somebody in the room that's
Yeah,
quick.
but just being ready.
No, for me, I mean, I feel like I became a man. It took me about 15 years, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me up to album 7. It took me, in the process of making the Love Reunion album is when I feel like I became like a master at what I do, and a skillful master for the culture,
Yeah.
where I can experiment with sound and mesh this a little R&B and soul and take it and a retro feel of the 90s and
Mm-hmm.
and get and still have my own sound and have something that's like, yo, Raheem thing be a little different, or he just being
Yeah.
and be comfortable and cool with that and understand that too. That I am in my own lane and not and sometimes we can look at being in our own lane as a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not. If you're talking about culture, it may take longer for some people to catch on, or it may not be appreciated right when you want it to be, but it definitely will be archived and appreciated. And when people go back and when they go down and talk about history and they talk about the culture,
Yeah.
my name will ring.
That's true. Man, that's the truth. That's the truth. And one thing about us being Taurus is like that we're very persistent. We're very on it when it comes to like what we put out there in our delivery. We're always knowing what we want to do. So that's really amazing that you spoke on that, because a lot of people got to understand that preparation is key, and just being ahead of the curve is
Yeah.
so much smoother once you figure out yourself. And sometimes it doesn't come easy for everybody. For us as Taurus, we're like, listen, boom, boom, boom. There you go. There's no finesse about it. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
I pride myself in being a blueprint for the game and not the carbon copy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I let, again, that's a pro and a con to that. You know what I mean? Then I can pretty much hear when it's like, okay, or I can see when if somebody's borrowing from something that I've done, and
Right.
I can only see it because I know the times that I borrowed.
Yep.
I think that sometimes we get so caught up in that we forget that we're all here just to be vessels to aspire to inspire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once you realize that and be cool with that and your skin with that, and as a creative, you just constantly just continue to create. You don't feel
Right.
the pressure.
Exactly. And before we talk about this trilogy series, I want to talk about being a father, because I never got a chance
Mm-hmm.
to talk to you about that. And I know that's very something that is, parenthood is an amazing thing for everybody. So just kind of tell us about being a father and how important it is during these times to make sure that you're staying close with your children.
Yeah, I am, but it's hard. You know what I'm saying? I tell you what, quarantine made me come to the epiphany that and I don't regret my children nor, you know, the relationships that I have with their mothers or
Right.
just, you know, any of that. But if I had to do it all over again, I would have definitely done it differently.
Yeah.
Consider having children with one woman, and I would have just, if there's anything like, if something like quarantine would definitely bring that,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, to fruition for you, because you know what I mean, just the fact that you can't um see them or have an eyeball on them every day if they're not in the household with you. And a
Right.
time like this, it creates a whole nother level of anxiety. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's a different level of
yeah,
anxiety because you.
yeah, we get through it how we can, and we work through it. You know what I mean? But definitely, like, you know, it doesn't. You know, fatherhood doesn't ever stop, or parenting doesn't ever stop. You know, whether it's quarantine or whether they, you know, 6 years old or 26. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. You know, and then you know, um, you still have parents that are still moving. The kids are moving kind of between household
Yeah.
during quarantine. It's like you're taking that chance. You gotta. It's a lot to factor in.
It's big.
You know?
It's a big risk.
You got a compromised immune system in your household, but they don't in there. It's just a lot. You know what I mean? So it's a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To process, but you know, we getting through it though.
Yeah, I can imagine, you know, it being something that just like really like, oh my gosh, like this thing is going on, and now it's even more scary within the times. But like you said, there are these parents where they're having, you know, they still gotta bounce the child back around through these weekends, and it's like it's
Yeah,
putting it's really a risk that's within that. So what is your advice to, you know, the parents that are kind of having difficulties during these times? Because I know there's a lot of parents that are not necessarily sure,
yeah,
how can I get through this, whether I'm bouncing the child around or I'm single parent and I still
yeah.
need help and some guidance.
I mean, onward, upward. I can't. You gotta. That's a touchy thing. Like, to give
Yep.
it. Like, you gotta do what works best for you, and and definitely whatever you're doing, do it at, you know, with all being health conscious in the whole process. You know.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so let's talk about this trilogy that you've got going on here. How did we get here with albums 6, 7, and 8? So, you know, this trilogy project.
I mean, I plan ahead. I like to think that I plan ahead. You know, album number was it number 5,
Mm-hmm.
which was no, excuse me, album number 6, which is Decade of a Love King. Uh,
Right.
Kind of just like really set the tone, to basically, you know, I'll be putting out a lot of music for the decade.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's a new sound. This is what I'm on for the decade, you know, sonically,
Yep.
uh, melodically, you know, and so I'm in the second phase of that. Um, these
Right.
these albums are very, very, very R&B. You know, there's a lot of different shades and tones and textures to me. You know
They,
what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Stemming back from when I would call myself the R&B hippie neo soul rock star. Those are just different elements, you know, that
Right.
I've always been in my music from gate. You know, the rock influence, the soul influence, the R&B influence. And I feel like on each album I gave you a little more of each here and there. You know what I mean? Um, so I think that definitely when this when the third when the trilogy is complete, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the third body of work, which is I don't know. I've been on the fence about changing the name of the project.
Why you
So
want to change it from Love Affair? I like the name. I think
yeah,
the
yeah,
fans love it too.
2020 Love Affairs, but it's just like, you know, I kind of named it that before the world was what it is now. You know what
Right.
I mean? So I don't. Yeah, right now it's still 2020 Love Affairs, but it may change. I don't know. Or it may remain the same. But one thing's for sure. Two things for certain. It looks like it's going to be like a double album
We're
project.
still doing that double album project.
Yeah, it looks like
Oh,
it's
okay.
going to be, you know, while other people are like, you know, you got people that dropping a lot, and they're giving you like less music. I want to give you more music. You know, I think.
Right.
So, yeah, so that should be cool.
Yeah, I love that you touched on that, giving more music versus less music, because there's so many people, like I said, that are really afraid to put out music. I'm like, listen, instead of this 6-track EP that you did last year, let's go 10 on an EP, and then on that album, you can go 14, 18, whatever crazy number you want to do.
Yeah.
But I love that you've been able to, make sure that you're not selling yourself short when it comes to like providing and delivering the music.
Yeah, definitely. Nah, I mean, you know, I never been that cat that want to make music just to like for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just making music for yourself just to listen to and what have you, you know? So I don't think I'll go hard like Chris Brown. Chris be dropping like
That's
50,
like 52 songs and stuff.
you know what I mean? So
But you could do it.
yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, you know, I get it. He's a tourist, made same
Yeah.
birthday,
Hmm.
same energy. You know what I mean?
It's just our work ethic by
Yeah,
nature.
it's that word. Yeah, so I definitely get it. You know.
Yeah. So what would you say is holding you back from necessarily just saying, you know what, let me give more tracks versus, less? Because now we're in that space where a lot, the top artists are doing it. Not saying that you have to follow what the top artists are doing because you have figured out your own blueprint. But what stops you from saying, let me go ahead and go 32 on it or 22 on it?
I don't know. I think that again, the challenge is you battling against somebody's attention span.
Uh-huh. Yes.
So the more records you put on a body of work, the more probability you have people that are going to skip through. You know, they're going to skip through the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the minute that they hear one thing that don't catch their attention, that kind of makes them curious to say, oh, well, all right, I guess it's not one of them projects where you can listen to all these songs back to back. So,
Right.
some people like the process. You know, I try to put myself in the mindset of the consumer. That's all.
Yeah. And it's good that you do that because a lot of people can't retain that. Like I'm still going back to Chris Brown's album, and I'm like, wait a minute, I even heard the last one. This has so many damn songs on there to the point where I can't even go through it. I can get through a nice at best if the project's got 21 songs, I can get through it. But if we're talking 32, 40, 50,
Yeah,
I'm never going to listen to it because I'd rather listen to that good old classic R&B artist. No shade to Chris like that, but the good old classic R&B artist is just going to just give me exactly what I need in this amount of time versus me spending 2 hours.
but to see again, it all depends on what the agenda is. You know, if
True.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
these albums because I'm not putting nothing out for a while,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
be that, or you know, there's some type of something that's coming that you know nothing about.
Right.
You know, at least 10 of the songs are gonna be in a film or what have you. Or hey, I'm dropping this because I'll be out of my commitment. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I'll
that's another one.
scratch
Mm-hmm.
might have owed a certain amount of songs and say, hey, you know what? This is you know, I give you these records and you know, we re-up with a whole new bag. So I'm sure it was some type of science and method to it, you know?
Oh yeah, because he has all his masters as far
Yeah,
as like these next future projects that's going to actually all of these latest ones
yeah,
so forth. Yeah, so that's what he did with Sony and Warner. But let's talk about Rose Gold. That single, you got our girl Brave Williams in there.
yeah,
That's such a dope record, such a dope song, such a dope, well, I said that twice, video. I mean the whole damn album.
yeah.
Having Brave in that video, what made you want to, have her in the video versus, just choosing anybody that you didn't know for
That
this?
was a calculated move
Mm-hmm.
for me, you know, at the time, you know, I hadn't accepted the new A&R position at the time. Brave wasn't
Right.
didn't have a home as an artist. But we had already shot a film together called Love.com, which is on Netflix. You know, it's been getting great reviews and a lot of people checking that out. So for y'all Netflix and chill, definitely check out Love.com, starring Brave and Tobias Trivion as the main, you know, characters, you know, co-star and star of the film.
Yeah.
Uh,
Shout outs to Brave.
yeah, I had the opportunity to be in the film as well. So I just felt like, just knowing Brave, I figured like if I extended the invitation that she would do it. One, you
Yeah.
know, I'd be respectful as a, as a man shooting it. As far as management, like that's all family.
Yep.
You know, team. We fam. Shout out to Bishop,
Yep.
shout out as well, and but that was kind of like the beginning of the conversation of like, yo, like y'all about to put out music, and I had just kind of like had just peeped her live at the time, and she
Yeah.
had some music. So for me, it was a calculated move, for a number of reasons. You know what I mean? And I wanted to so I used the opportunity to like really dig in with them that day. It was like it was like in between the scenes, we were like talking business or like,
Yeah.
hey, here's some music.
I can see that. Yeah, because y'all are always on about your business.
Yeah, and she's a tourist too, which
Yep.
is, you know what I'm saying? So she was with
We
it.
just all
Yeah,
get we
she was
don't.
tapped in, and that's where the conversations kind of started,
Yeah.
about, SRG and ILS and her having a home and having um having dope music, and that's where it kind of all started, and we handle business because it's like, yo, boom, we doing business. So she getting paid for the day, and all of that. So it
Right.
was good, man. It was good. Everything, it worked out way better than I anticipated. You know what I mean? She was my first signing as a, prior to like having the title,
Yeah.
um with SRG. She was my second signing over there. My first was Mike Phillips, saxophonist Mike Phillips. Yeah,
That's
so shout
dope.
out to Dave, shout out to Mike, shout out to SRG, ILS. They just announced the other day that, I am director A&R over there, and
Right. That.
which it's a whole new something I always wanted to do,
Yeah.
and so I'm looking forward to that.
But it makes sense that you're now in that position. You know what I'm saying? Like you've always worked with different artists and having them part of your label and partnerships like that. So it only makes sense. So being able to have this title, how is that feeling for you? Just all the hard work and applying what you know to the business and having that eye for talent and that
Yeah,
ear for talent too.
but the mindset, as far as like the A&R job is that, a title is just a title unless you put the work in.
Amen.
You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? So, you got to put that work in, and there's a level of success that I want to have at that. And there's other titles and positions that's out there too. So,
Yes.
you crawl before you walk, and you put the work in, and so I'm just being a student of the culture, but also doing my job to preserve the culture
Yeah.
and have a say in what the culture should sound like, you know what I mean, and look like, you know what I mean, for
Right.
for for that lane,
Exactly. I know we haven't had a moment in a while to talk about your thoughts on the R&B culture in
hmm
these day and times. What is your thoughts and feelings? Because we got the younger artists like her, we've got SZA, we've got Bryson, we've got so many, Lucky Day. What are your thoughts on the young artists that are in this new generation coming?
It's dope. I mean, you got some artists that stand out, and then you have some artists that kind of just following what's standing out, and I think it's a lot more the following what's standing out versus like the new millennial finding their own place
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
finding their own sound. You know what I mean? So you got certain artists that like just stand out, like, like your Ari Lennoxes or your Her, or SZA, um, um, even what's my Janae Aiko. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Janae Aiko kind of like set the tone for a lot of the female singers. Though I feel like Janae Aiko and Drake, it's been a lot of like carbon copies of that. You know
Yeah.
what you know what I mean?
It's a lot of that.
And that's cool, but it's just it doesn't last. So you start to question like the staying power. It starts to kind of have that this one hit wonder mystique about it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of momentum out the gate, but then you don't see the same momentum, or it's not the same excitement, you know, for the projects to follow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I would just, for any new artists out there, I'll just kind of preach to them about authenticity, like understanding, like being authentic is a very big thing. You know what I mean? But I think that, but then a lot of that is based on who's involved in the creative process of it
Yep.
too. You know what I mean? So clearly, like her is working with a situation that works best for her. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like the sisters, same writers, the same producers, sonically, and she clearly knows. She's one of those artists you can tell she clearly knows who who she is. She's a student of it, and she's growing and evolving with where she is and who she is as well.
Exactly.
I mean, the flip side, you see a lot of the artists in my arena or that started out where I started, and they it's like they run out of gas too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For whatever reasons, and you can't be afraid to try new things, but you can't be afraid to be you in the process.
Uh-huh.
Would be my advice to like my peers that like in my lane. I don't know, maybe it like I went on Twitter. I said on Twitter probably in the last 24 hours. I said, "Yo, who's been more consistent than I have been?"
That's a
When
question.
you really think about it, like for the lane that I'm in, coming out of 2005 and 7 albums later, being independent for almost 10 years,
Yep.
and that's too, you know, making it look easy. It feel like I'm on a major, but I'm independent, like which ain't an easy thing to accomplish.
At all. It's not easy at all.
Like who been more consistent. So whether I get my call for verses or not, we know what it is. But I've been seeing the tweets and the
Mm-hmm.
booking and
Do
everything on
you
social
want to do? I
media.
was going to ask you. Do you want to do a versus? Because
Sure,
I feel like you
I would love
qualify for it.
I would love to. If the goal is what if they stand on the integrity of what when Swiss say it's for the culture, if it's for the culture, then then yeah, let's have it, because I represent the culture. You know what I'm saying? And if you're gonna give people their roses, like give them their roses, like
Yep.
you know what I mean, like because it could a verses could be great for somebody, for an artist like myself.
Absolutely.
It could put what I'm saying, it could put a whole nother group of individual people that may not know or didn't have the time when the world was moving so fast
Mm-hmm.
to buy the music or check out the project or know, you know what I mean? Oh, all right, he was independent. I didn't know, you know what I mean? Because I didn't see him on that award show, so I didn't know that, he didn't have a major backing of a label to assist, to throw that assist, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the politics may be to make that happen. You know what I mean? So, definitely, like but whether you get the call or don't get the call, like it's cool. I mean, I know what it is. We know what it is. The people know what it is. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of like the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna find its way. Like
Right.
it's crazy. Like because I never been one of those persons to like chase likes or like um chase the follow, right? But it's crazy because the follow is just like been jumping right now. Like it
Right.
lets me that people have more time, and I guess people are talking and seeing the traffic that I engaging in the traffic, kind of almost like quadruple. You know what I mean? Um, uh-oh, did I lose you?
Yep.
Oh,
I'm right here.
cool, cool,
I was
cool.
trying to block some foolery in the comments.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, the trolls, some
Yeah,
trolls.
the trolls are talking, but that's okay. We still flowing and going.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's it's always one of those things, man. But yeah, I would love. I mean, all in all, I would love to. I've been seeing the Raheem Devaughn music, Soul Child, heavy.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. If music's down for it, I've been seeing Anthony Hamilton. I saw me and it was one I saw the other day. That was I saw me and Tank. I saw me and
I think that
Maxwell.
would be amazing. I was just thinking that too. You and Tank for sure.
Yeah, I don't know though. Like that's gonna be tough.
Tough hell.
I got my 22. I got my 20. I got my 20 to 25 ready though, and
Always gotta have it ready.
I got some unreleased music. That's all I'm gonna say. I ain't gonna, I ain't gonna say too much. I'm ready. I got my list ready. I'm ready
Right.
for all. I stay on go.
Always on go mode. Always. So now, what was the most rewarding part about this whole trilogy series like so far? Would you say?
Um, say that again.
Like, what would you say is like the most rewarding about this whole trilogy experience so far, and being able to connect with your fans a little bit more?
Oh man, I mean well, the trilogy series, I think the reward in it is just like again just showing the growth and like just I'm in my R&B bag, and I think people will see that when they hear this, when they hear the third volume of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm on, and then after that, I'm on to some other things. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
me and sonically, but um, I think it's gonna be the soul series after that. You know what I mean? More live instrumentation, and it's gonna be dope. But as far as the quarantine, I mean, it's been an eye opener. It's been that you can do anything you put your mind to.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's giving me an opportunity to once again reinvent myself to a certain extent. It's it gives me an opportunity to refamiliarize myself with my audience,
Yes.
reconnect in a different way, and and for both things, I'm thankful.
Exactly. And it's definitely a good thing that you're thankful. Sorry, I'm like we got to get rid of this person. That they throwing up the whole vibe. We got the fans in the comments like get rid of them. So, but I love the fact that you that this experience has been amazing for you. Can we talk about the record Love Reunion and just that visual in itself too? Because that's a masterpiece. And then when it comes down to these visuals, you do not play around.
God, I just wanted everything to feel like I wanted the videos that had this retro '90s feel to them.
Uh-huh.
Cinematography, I wanted it to feel like film. I've been, I worked with film directors for the last couple of videos that you mentioned. Actually,
Exactly.
directors that or the visionaries behind Love.com, the movie. I try to keep it all, in the fam and work with my friends so we can kind of monetize together
Right.
amongst my peers and people directly in my circle. Love Reunion is a record that speaks to transparency, it speaks to infidelity, it speaks to the real live things that people go through with love. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't till I recorded that record that I know what the title track of the album, knew what the title of the title of the album would be. It was like once that record was done, it was like, okay, yeah, this is that the album is gonna be called The Love Reunion. This is like this is the alpha and the omega of what I was waiting to come, what I needed to come out of me for this project to be what it's gonna be. You know what I mean? And it again, I became a master at what I do in the form of making this album. So I'm just thankful for the process.
Yeah. That's amazing. And you
And I
oh, go
never
ahead.
had baby, 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 please, baby, 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 please, baby, 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 please. So that's this is definitely that. That record is
Right.
definitely
For sure. And you've got the name Love King, and you always are talking about love in your music, as we all know. How important do you feel like it is for a man to express vulnerability within their delivery when it comes to music versus saying, "Oh, I'm going to be tough guy," because that
I
you know
think that I think it's very important, like as men, that we show transparency. We care. That we kill the narrative that men are not supposed to cry. That all that because we carry a lot, especially as a black man. We carry a lot. You know what I mean?
a lot.
Try to make it. I've had my fair share of like, I've had my moments even during the quarantine where you gotta like let it release it,
Yup.
so that you can
Yup.
so you can stop and then move forward, onward, upward. You know what I mean? So I think that and I think it's great from a mental health standpoint as well. You know what I mean? Um, but we gotta kill that narrative. So like, and then women love transparency. Like,
Yeah.
don't you know what I'm saying? I think that for black men, a lot of times we don't show certain emotions, or we feel like that a black woman won't like that, or won't be received um how we need to be received, but that's not the case, you know.
Exactly. Why do you feel like men believe that that is the case? Because I do see a lot of times where they feel like that is, but
I
it's
think
not.
that's the narrative. It's just the things you hear even as a child, or you taught, or you see, you had that uncle or that dad is like, boy, toughen up, or
Uh-huh.
it's nothing wrong with, building up the confidence of your son. You know what I mean? Or you have women that tell like, don't be no punk, or like, what does that mean though? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, though that being received the wrong way and then experiencing the wrong things, and you can have the ingredients for abusive men who
Right.
then emotion, you know what I'm saying, or lacks empathy, you know what I mean, for his woman, but his kids as well. And so again, yeah, I think it's a good thing to be able to be, you know, to be transparent and to have feelings and to be able to convey them and be able to say what you mean what you say, and you know, and again, if you gotta, shed a tear, let it out,
Right. You got to, especially with that stars. Listen, we got to at some point. We might be stubborn as hell, but we've got to. We're
Yeah.
very expressive when it comes to things. So when it comes to spirituality, and then um, relationships, how important do you feel like it is to keep spirituality within your relationship?
Well, y'all gotta just be on the same page, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's a very, yeah, it's a huge part, especially now, you know. So, I think, but that all comes from like, if you talk about relationships, like communication is one of the main ingredients, you
Yeah.
know.
Can we
Yeah.
talk about how communication is so annoying to a Taurus if you do not do it the right way? Can we talk about that? Because I just want to shed light on the people who don't understand the method to our madness when we say communicate, 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 communicate.
Yeah, it's but for us it's like you gotta be willing to communicate, but you gotta also be real. You have to be willing to receive it and
Yep.
let the other individual talk and get the entire point. Even if you after the fact want to say, I knew that's what you were trying to say, you
Uh-huh.
know, save you a whole 30 minutes on a dialogue just so we could get right here and you understand that I was right and you were wrong. Now,
Uh-huh.
uh, but nah, it's a process, man. And in all of it, it's about growth and healing and preservation. So it's all with good intent. You know what I mean? If it's with good intent, then it preserves what you created. You know?
Right. You said something very important earlier, and it was about changing your team. So, how important was it for you to realize that over the years that sometimes these key members within the team is not a part of the vision that I'm seeing for the longevity of my
Man,
career?
that's an ongoing thing. I mean, at any different point, the team members can change. Like, it's about making sure you're all on one accord on the
Uh huh.
business side. It's about you know, uh, knowing each other's weaknesses. You know what I mean? So
Strengths and weaknesses, absolutely.
called a team for a reason. It's no I in the word team. You
Hmm.
know? But you know, and you got to stay on your 1-2 in this business. You know what I mean?
Right.
Eat what you eat. Eat what you kill. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
And situations and it's definitely like it's needed, you know. But you gotta have that team. So it's just like tweaking and meetings and knowing where you want to be, you know, setting the right goals, you know, and to giving yourself constantly giving yourself and allowing your team to give you a report card and you give them one as well. So, you know,
Exactly.
there's a lot of humility in that too, and having to be humble
So much. Yeah.
to be greater. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So let's, kind of wrap up the interview and talk about the Love Life Foundation. And for those who don't know, let's shed some light to them about the foundation, because
Yeah.
I love the foundation of what you've been able to do with it.
Man, Love Life Foundation has been great for me. You know, it's something I created to support, um, you know, women who are transitioning out of severe domestic violence situations to be
Hmm.
a big to them. So, you know, that's one of our initiatives, fighting domestic violence.
Right.
Um, Education, the textbook scholarship fund is another thing that's very important to us. Um, you know, whether that's from it's supporting the youth and their efforts, whether that's summer programs, you know, whether that's buying books and supplies for first year college, you know, whether that's being a mentee or mentorship, you know, all of those things are very important.
Yeah, very important.
Yeah, big shout out to the AHF, which is the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. We've been a big supporter of the Love Life Foundation. Um,
Yeah, I love the fact that you guys been doing a lot of work with it.
we work, man. You know, like who got time for a bunch of talk and smoke and mirrors, right? Like
Right.
it's glamorous, but it's work and it's passionate work. It's work that we're passionate about. Most recently, you know, through the support that I received through my movement personally, and then through the Love Life Foundation and the partners that we have, we've been being of service to, you know, first responders and the essential workers and nurses and at the different hospitals and you know, the individuals that do COVID testing and just all these things, take them dinner, you know, lunch and that type of thing. So that's a campaign that we're running during the entire month of May as well. And shout out to Alma Catering, who's on the front lines for us, you know, dropping off the food and preparing it and what have you, and our various partners as well, you know, that are involved.
Right, yeah. And I love the fact that during these times you are making use of your time, and not just in the area of, you're like you're really expanding with this, and just
Hmm.
being able to be attentive to that is an amazing thing. I really, really love that. But also with the foundation, what you've been doing is give scholarships as well too.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, this is true. So we did 6 scholarships last June. I'm hoping that we'll be able to give out scholarships again this year. You know, we just kind of just taking it day by day, and
Uh-huh.
uh, yeah, I'm hoping that we'll be able to, you know, at least give out one or more. You know, we're playing about ear right now, but that's a textbook scholarship fund campaign that we run, where we buy books and supplies for students for their first year of college.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. And you already I was just reading today, you guys already picked somebody for this year, right?
We haven't picked anyone for this
Okay.
year. Yeah, the most recently, like I said, back in June, we gave away 6 scholarships. Yeah, so we're in talks about it now, you know, and how we're gonna do it and who we're gonna. We try to do it here in the DMV,
Yeah.
being as though this is home for me. So we're gonna figure it out.
Right.
Definitely.
So giving back, in the DMV, like how important is that? Just kind of like keeping it home, because a lot of people, they try to do things in other areas that they're not from, which is totally fine and expanding, but keeping it home, how important is that?
I mean, it's very important. It's home. Like, you know, it's always all eyes on you. So, um, you know, I'm sure that there's somebody coming up in the ranks that, you know, from a public figure standpoint, that
Uh-huh.
they'll say, all right, you know, it's in hopes that, you know, when you make your mark, you know, in the world, you know, whether it's through a scholarship you receive through me or, you know, through a different avenue, that it sparks the idea that you don't have to be Raheem Devaughn to care about people. You know, you
True.
can be and start a movement, you know what I mean, and help people, and lend a hand to your community. So that's really the goal and the agenda with what I'm doing.
Exactly. I want to get your thoughts on what we're seeing culture wise. We're seeing these young people's lives being taken away for just going outside, just to exercise. We're seeing this crazy stuff that we saw before prior to COVID-19. But what are your thoughts on what we're seeing as a culture once again?
Our history repeats itself, and we in the new millennial era of the civil rights movement. Remember that. So if you know history and you know the civil rights movement,
Yep.
and what it was for us, and what we encountered and the things that transpired, that's where we at right now.
Right.
That's heavy. That's a heavy place to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's and what it means in this country in America is that no matter how much paper you have, how much success you have, if you're black,
Yep.
and you know the history and the culture of what it is to be black in America, and in some cases, globally, like that's where we at with it right now.
Exactly. Well, Raheem, Instagram is wrapping us up. I want to say thank you so much for joining us and this conversation, man. It's been a long time, but I appreciate you and all the support that you've shown back in return.
No doubt. Likewise, thank you for what you do for the culture, and I look forward to chopping it up, when the new album is out.
Yeah, absolutely. When can we expect the new single? Because I know that's what the fans want to know. So when can we expect that new single?
Yeah, I don't know. It's to be announced right now, but definitely looking forward to having a new single and a new project out before 2021.
Hey, well, we're looking forward to it, Raheem. Definitely stay in touch. I appreciate you always. And yeah, this was dope. We got to do this again.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, man. God bless you.
Anytime. God bless.
All right, peace.
All right, peace.